Welcome to the JunkYard Rat Show. It's cold again in San Francisco. I never thought I would feel cold weather in this city again. I got used to the hot days. In fact, it was so hot during where I live in hell in Walnut Creek that I always come out to San Francisco, but there's not much you can do. I ended up at Fort Mason, and then I realized I'm smoking weed in a military base, which is never a good idea. So that was always bad. There's like a fire on the corner of the street. I'm thinking there's got to be an easier way to smoke your fentanyl pipes, you know, without starting a fire. Why can't they invent like better lighters? I mean, it's been 100 years. We're still using the Bic lighters. Nobody likes Bic lighters. I don't like Bic lighters. Why can't we evolve and stuff? I'm excited. Wednesday is the beginning of San Francisco Hash Week. If you don't know what Hash Week is, I think it's really 710 Week, which was it was supposed to be for concentrates. It's the equivalent of 420, and they got a lot of free events in San Francisco. You do got to get to San Francisco though. Somehow they haven't managed to bring it to other parts of the Bay Area. I was watching some Netflix documentary about some dude who fathered 1,000 babies. People were outraged because he did it mostly in Amsterdam, and they're like, what if my son falls in love with his half sister not knowing it, and they start banging and they have kids? What's gonna happen to them? 1,000 babies. I'm like, you know, and I don't really feel bad for these families because they wanted a blonde, blue-eyed baby, you know? You never hear about stories about some black guy fathering 1,000 babies. Well, they do father 1,000 babies, but it's done naturally. The black guy will just go bang you 1,000 times, you know? He'll be out there banging 1,000 women, knocking them up. But these people, they wanted blonde, blue-eyed babies. You know, and they liked this guy. They saw YouTube videos. They thought he's so cool. Look at him with his long, shiny hair. And they're like, well, I want him to be my parent. I want him to be the parent of my baby and stuff. Some of these women actually had sex with a guy, you know. That's when I draw a line. Like, you can't be crying if the guy actually banged you, you know. But most of the time, and then they got upset because him and a friend of his decided to have some fun with it all. And they both came in the same little jars. So you really didn't know whose sperm was going inside of you. The whole thing is disgusting, but I like blonde, blue-eyed babies. I mean, what about me? Nobody wants me as the father of their kid, you know? Nobody's like, why not you? And all these families were upset. They took him to court. The judge decided he couldn't father any more kids. He had kids all over the world and stuff. He would travel all over the world. He had YouTube videos of him traveling all over the world, just impregnating women like crazy. But they were like, oh, what if my son falls in love with his half sister? I'm like, well, dude, I mean, it happens in the South all the time, you know? Actually, royalty always did shit like that. So And they're like, well, these kids have instant bonds, you know. You put these kids together and they feel some bond and they like each other. They don't know why. It's because they carry the same dumbass genes inside of them. That's why. And then now they have parties. They have parties where they bring a bunch of these kids together and they have parties for them and like, but the guy seemed chill, you know. He wasn't even trying to make money out of it. He was just out there. He wanted a bunch of kids, you know. But like I said, I don't, those parents are like, you're the one that decided you wanted like a blonde, blue-eyed guy with long, curly blonde hair to be your baby daddy, you know. Why not hang out at rock shows if you're looking for dudes like that, you know? And some of them are like lesbian couples, and even the lesbian couples are like, "Nah, I want a cool dude as a daddy," you know. Even the lesbian couples like, let's just find some regular dude with a high IQ and shit. Nah, this guy's hella cool. And in fact, a lot of them they didn't even realize that there were two different sperms in a little jar that they were sticking up their vagina and out there trying to create babies and stuff. That's what really upset. I'm like, oh my God, there were two different sperms. I'm like, the whole thing is hella disgusting. It's like, I don't know why people even care about stuff like that, you know? Like, it's 2024. Can't we find an easier way to knock up women, you know? I mean, the whole test tube thing and stuff. And the women are like, the ones that can't conceive, I feel bad for them. But I'm like, maybe God decided you shouldn't have kids, you know, like, all these treatments and all the medicines they put you on when you're trying to have kids, like, maybe God decided you shouldn't have kids, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the way God did it. He decided no more kids for you. But nah, they were up in arms. They were complaining, like, we got to stop this guy. Some of them were very angry with him. What if my kid falls in love with his half sister? Some of them went to the same school, this guy, and he kept a list of everybody. So this guy, he wasn't some junkie, he had a list. He kept a list of all the kids he fathered. He made all these YouTube videos so the kids could look at it. They're like, oh, this is my daddy. This is my daddy in Kenya. This is my daddy pregnant a bunch of women in Kenya. Traveled all over the world. Had babies all over the world. And I'm like, do we have any right to stop this guy from having babies, I mean, where do we come up with the idea that we have the right to keep anybody from having babies and stuff? You know what I'm saying? Paul's gonna hang out with the ballerinas, the teenage ballerinas outside who are out there having lunch. He heard the ballerinas show up and he went outside to go kick it with them. I'm like, I hope. Why is he kicking with a bunch of teenage ballerinas? I don't even know. But he's outside with the teenage ballerinas. Why not just let the teenage ballerinas eat lunch by themselves? That's the way I feel. Now, I do have a couple of suggestions for people. Like, a friend of mine got hacked. She got hacked. Some old white dude gave her some old laptop he didn't need anymore. And it turns out he was spying on her. Started up an OnlyFans page. Took all the took all these nude pictures that she had on her phone, on her laptop, and just stole it all. Like, please do not take old laptops and cell phones from anybody you don't know. I mean, there's no way to make sure, laptop is something you want to buy new. It's bad enough that the computer companies, the techie firms are spying on you. But you're just going to let some random old white dude just hand you a laptop and say, I don't need this. You can have this one. Of course he's spying on you. Why is it always like some old dude like a 10, 20 laptops just hanging out like it's Halloween candy to people? and they don't even get the idea. Like, this guy's just spying on me at this point. And you can get spied on. So make sure you do not have any recycled anything. No recycle. Even the TVs. Don't even bring a TV in your house that's not brand new, unless it's somebody you know about. TVs can also be controlled in spying mechanisms. She's really upset. Because she had a picture of her ID card on her laptop. So the guy basically just started a whole OnlyFans in her name, made a shitload of money. You know, I don't know what upset her more. The fact she realized, like, I could be making a lot of money on OnlyFans. Why am I letting this fool make all this money on OnlyFans for me? And now, it's hard to shut it down, because OnlyFans is not a real company. It's not like you can show up to some office building, complain. You got to go through these people and that people to shut the thing down and stuff. It's ridiculous. So lesson number one, buy your laptops, buy your tablets, buy your cell phones. Do not get it from some old white dude who's like, I don't need this anymore. You should take it from me. I don't need it anymore. You should take it from me and stuff. It's crazy. My July 4th was fun. I went to a weed sesh. The same sesh I always go to, but usually they started at 4. This time they started at 3, and I thought they were going to have more raffles, but they just let us out early. But it's in Oakland, and the whole time I kept hearing, like, fireworks going on outside. It reminded me, like, of when I was back in Vietnam fighting a war and stuff, the secret war, not the one, though, that a lot of people went to. I went to Vietnam like 10 years ago to fight a secret war. I'm one of those secret warrior people. And it's like you just heard fireworks everywhere. It was just crazy. And it's like there's a couple of cities in the Bay Area you can legally buy fireworks. You can buy them. I think it's Dublin and Union City. They actually set up shacks,
Yes, in Fremont and Union City, you get fireworks.
Yeah, and they're like charities too. Like, they're raising funds for all these charities, and I'm like, that's really how we want to be raising funds, selling fireworks.
So they won't let you buy fireworks most of the Bay Area, except for those outlying cities that you mentioned. But in the Valley, where there's lots of dry grass and lots of fire hazards, every city gets to do it.
Yeah.
And you're right. That's like the major fundraiser for churches and Rotary clubs and school auxiliary and football teams and all that kind of stuff. That's how they raise money. That's a big part of their fundraising budget for the year is these fireworks stands.
I'm upset that they're using drones, They're using drones for fireworks. Because one day somebody's going to get shot by one of those drones while they're watching the fireworks show. I mean, you could program the drone to do all kinds of stuff, It's scary. It's scary having like 1,000,000 drones flying over somebody, I mean, I don't even know how many drones does it take to like do a fireworks show. How many drones does it take? I mean, but it is dangerous. Like, I don't want a bunch of drones flying over me. You never know what's going on. I think we should outlaw drones. Do we really need fireworks? I mean, they're fun. They're nice to look at. But, I mean, how many fireworks do you think somebody watches in their lifetime? I mean, after a while, it just looks the same, I almost did mushrooms looking at the fireworks.
You have big ADHD today. You're all over the place.
Yeah, I was going to do some mushrooms.
Okay.
Looking at the fireworks because you're always trying to figure out something new to do,
Right.
Something new to do. Maybe I'll do some mushrooms and look at the fireworks. But, I mean, they got fireworks in San Francisco, but I've never been to the fireworks in San Francisco.
Really?
Nah, because I just don't do things like that, last time I saw some fireworks, that it wasn't like at a baseball game or anything. I think it was in San Ramon. My mom and I went to look at the fireworks, and my mom parked in the wrong place. Some police officer came up to us and said, "Hey, you want a better view? You should park across the street over here." So my mom parked over there, and the guy gave her a ticket. Gave her a ticket. So I was like, "Fuck the 4th of July." I should be excited about the 4th of July, you know. I mean, I did get dumped once on the. And that wasn't me. That was somebody else. I remember somebody told me they got dumped on the 4th of July. But
You almost thought you took.
I thought it was me.
You thought it was.
I think I got dumped on the 3rd of July or something. There's not much to do on the 4th. Like, you know, people think nothing was shut down. The restaurants are open, but it's like San Francisco. I don't know. I think there's too many drugs to do fireworks out here. I think we should ban them, you know.
You can only have drugs or fireworks, but not both.
Not both, you know. Not both and stuff, you know. Not both and stuff. It's crazy. Like, San Francisco's an expensive place. Because I went to the Target and I realized that the tents are like $300 at Target. I'm like, why are the tents so expensive in San Francisco? Like, people don't like going camping. When did camping become so expensive, you know? When did, like, going camping become so expensive? I don't go camping. I like hotels. I remember I went camping with my Cub Scout troop. I never made it to Boy Scouts. I think I was at Cub Scouts. But we didn't do that. I think we weren't like camping people. We weren't tent people. We came from the third world. Why are we gonna sit in the freaking tent, you know? I mean, it took us like 2 months on a ship to get over here, right? I mean, we got on some wooden ship with no motor. My dad was rowing the whole time, you know? He rowed. My dad was in the Naval Academy in Chile, so he's a good rower. But it took us 2 months to get here. And the last thing I'm going to do is sit in a fucking tent. You know, even a ship is questionable, you know? Even a ship is questionable. It's crazy. When are they going to put Diddy in jail?
Have they found him?
Yeah, I saw him on TMZ. TMZ knows where he's at.
TMZ knows where everybody
Yeah, they showed a video of him whitewater rafting and stuff, you know.
Really?
He's out there on the water and stuff. They're never going to get, I think it's because they might nominate him for president, you know. I don't see why Diddy couldn't like be a Democrat. He's a Democrat, so I don't see why they don't nominate some of these people. Like,
bring him up to replace Biden.
Yeah, bring him up. You know, the thing is, I don't know. I don't see why they don't let Biden run. The thing that troubles me, not the way Biden is like, we really don't know who's running the country, you know? We don't know who's running the country.
In other words, who's pulling the strings?
Yeah, who's in charge? You know, is Kamala in charge? You know?
Or is it just all advisors, or what's going on?
Yeah, who the hell's in charge of this thing, you know? Who's the one that's telling Biden where to stand? And I guess they have a whole list for Biden. They tell him how to walk, which door to walk through, which place to sit down. You're going to talk for 2 minutes. Then you're going to take a break for a minute. Then you're going to say something nobody understands. Then you're going to say something that makes no sense. And then you're going to end your press conference. But it is kind of sad. But, you know, I live in a senior community, and these things happen, you know. These things happen. There's a couple people in charge in my senior community that are like Biden. So my senior community's all for Biden. They're excited. They're like, give this senior a chance. And I'm like, well, of course they want to give this guy a chance. They're all seniors, you know. The seniors are all for Biden running for 4 years. They might be the only ones that want Biden to run for 4 more years, or the seniors. You know, the seniors are like,
I like this young man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I prefer Kamala as president than Gavin. I don't. I don't
You'd
want.
rather do Kamala?
I'd rather do Kamala. I trust Kamala more than Gavin. But you know, I would if Gavin became president. Thank God, and thank God we don't have him in California anymore. You know, we don't have him here passing any more laws and stuff. You know.
What do you mean? He's still here.
Well, if he becomes
Oh,
president,
I see.
I'll be like, it wouldn't be a bad thing because,
Oh, so he'd be passing laws for the country, not just for your
yeah,
state.
you know.
Okay.
But like I said, you know, I ask people this question all the time, like, can you name one law that's been passed in the last 20 years that actually affected your life? Is there one law that you think this law
I'm
fucked
pretty
up?
sure, like even Roe versus Wade fucked up a lot of women's lives over the last couple of years.
It's true, Roe versus Wade, but
But any other laws you mean lately?
did you know that it was conservative judges that passed Roe versus Wade in the first place? There was a conservative judge that actually flipped.
Okay.
So it is kind of weird. You know, the thing is, like, Roe versus Wade didn't go away. And I think it's gonna help. It's gonna help out the movement because every state that's voting on abortion is voting pro-abortion. You know, and I don't think there's anybody really out there that doesn't like abortions. You know, and if there are anti-abortion people, I suggest you come hang out in the Tenderloin for a week. You'll be opening up a abortion clinic for free in your own hometown. You know. All you gotta do is come and hang out in San Francisco for a week, and you're like, well, there are some people that shouldn't have babies, you know. I know it's a harsh criticism, but I used to think maybe abortion was wrong, and then of course, after living on this earth for years, I'm thinking maybe they had a right, and maybe they were right, you know. Maybe they were right to decide abortion was good, you know. I just don't want it to get to the point where we're going to force people on abortions, you know. I don't want anybody, I don't want people feeling like a forced abortion. In fact, there's a big Planned Parenthood near the airport in Oakland. So I figure, people come to California for abortion, but wouldn't you want to do that anyway, you know? If you're from some small town in Utah, wouldn't you rather come to California for an abortion than do it in Utah? If there's like one abortion clinic in all of Utah, of course you're gonna come to a state that's got 1,000 of them, you know, because wouldn't you want to come here and do it anyway, you know, like, you know, and I'm not sure if it's kind of a slippery slope. I don't know if teenagers should be able to get abortions without their parents' consent. But, I mean, if they want to do it, I think maybe 16. I think if you're under 16 and you get pregnant, you need your parents' consent, you know. But if you're over 16 and you don't want to have a child, I think that's up to you. I think 16 is a good age and stuff. But Roe versus Wade, yeah, that's one law. But I figure that's going to go back eventually. I figure, it's not gonna happen now, but maybe in 8 years. The trouble is, all these judges are young. You know, some of these judges are younger than me, so we got years and years of this Supreme Court sitting there. You know, I don't think there's anybody really that people are looking at thinking that person should get out. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I mean, it's better for the economy too. It's better for the California economy if people come down here. They come down here, they get all high, they do drugs, and after that they realize they don't really need an abortion. They did drugs instead. But there's always been abortions. There's always been abortions. My mom tried to abort me. She tried to abort me, but she used a plastic coat hanger and I broke it. But she tried to abort me, but There's always been abortions, you know. I was listening to the Britney Spears book about how she had a at home abortion, and those are the ones that I'm like, you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, a pill. I didn't realize there was an abortion pill out there, and I'm down for that stuff.
You
But
didn't know about Plan B?
oh yeah, a Plan B is different. Plan B, you're supposed to do it right away. But
Right.
they got an abortion pill. You can do it up to like 3 4 months to
What?
kill off your baby. Yeah. But
Never heard of that one.
yeah, they got an abortion pill. Britney Spears took an abortion pill in her house. This was over 10 years. This is like 15 years ago. She took an abortion pill to kill because
But it wasn't a Plan B?
it wasn't a Plan
Because
B.
that you're only supposed to do that within the first 72 hours or something.
Nah. She had been pregnant for a couple of months at this point. It wasn't Plan B. Plan B is something different, you know.
Well, it's still kind of an abortion pill, but you're right. Okay, so I'll check, but keep going.
So yeah, I mean the Plan B pill is like, you know, shouldn't we call it the Plan A pill though? I mean, because Plan B pill, it sounds like only people with bad grades should be taking it.
So just to let you know, I start looking it up on Google, and so I start typing up, "Is there an abortion pill?" And then it finishes the sentence for me for dogs. Isn't that funny?
Can dogs get pregnant?
What do you mean, can they? Sure they can. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any dogs, right?
That's one thing I never liked, how we spayed or neuter our pets. I never was down for that. I wasn't down for that. And then a friend of mine, he had a dog that wasn't. Is it neutered? Is the female neutered or is it the male neutered? Is it the male or the?
Male is spayed. No, I'll have to look that up too.
Well, this dog was horny all the time. It was a big dog, and the dog literally jumped on people. It jumped on people, and I felt really bad for this dog, you know, because I realized it's not really the dog's fault, you know. We created a society where it's not safe for dogs that aren't fixed to be out in public.
So up to 84 days.
Yeah. So we created a society that's not safe for dogs that aren't fixed. Like if your dog isn't fixed, you can't take your dog to the dog park, you know. You can't take your dog to a restaurant. You can't take your dog anywhere, you know. If it's and it's like it's not a dog's fault, you know. Dogs are born with the capability of having other dogs, you know, and now like we put so much pressure on people to fix their pets that at this point people like, you know, you're like bad, you know. It's almost like being a bad person if your pet is not fixed, especially if your dog is not fixed. You can't take a dog that's not fixed anywhere. But I never had the heart for that, you know. I always felt like if you love your pets, why wouldn't you want them to be able to have sex? Why wouldn't you want them to have babies, you know? What is it all right?
Well, okay, so even if they've been spayed or neutered, they can still have sex. It's just they won't have as much of a drive, and then yeah, you won't be able to have kids. You won't be able to have babies.
That's what I'm saying. What is it our right to decide if our pets should have babies or not? I mean,
Well, some people do want their pets to have kids. Like, yeah, I get it.
but
Sure.
it's not our right to do that. And I'm thinking if you fix your pets, the first person you should fix is yourself. You know what I mean? Just fix yourself first. why aren't you like neutering yourself? You know?
Well, the other day I saw a dog and he was what they call intact. And I was like, wow, I haven't seen that for a while.
You were amazed. You're like, damn, no,
I was like, I forgot dogs had testicles.
they got balls. They got balls. I'm like,
And then when people see my dog's cute and stuff, they go, oh, she's so pretty. I go, yeah, he is. And they go, oh, because he's been fixed. He's not intact.
I was at a July 4th party after the sesh, and somebody blew their dick off. You know,
He did not.
Somebody blew their dick off, and it turns out they've been thinking about having a sex change for a while, so they couldn't afford a sex change, so they just blew their dick off. And then some of the dick got in my mouth.
No, that's just grossing
The
me out.
dick got in my mouth. And the sad thing is that the balls were still there. And they're like, give me another firecracker to blow up my
I'm so
ball.
glad I'm not playing this outside the studio.
I'm
for the
like,
young
why
kids out
can't
there.
they? I'm like, why? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So if you want to use that joke and use that as a premise on stage,
I did.
you could just say, now I didn't realize that July 4th is now a big gender reveal party.
That is true. I said it on stage.
There's your line. That's how
Yeah.
you drop into it. July 4th just turned into a gender reveal from the party I was at.
That's what Easter is, isn't it? We reveal that Jesus is a man. That's
And
what,
that he likes chocolate Easter eggs.
yeah, that's why the eggs are all painted in blue and stuff. I've never been to a gender reveal party.
No, I've never been to one. I've seen them online.
But people, every year somebody kills himself with a firecracker accidentally. Some guy put a firecracker in his head. My friend put a firecracker in his foreskin. You know? And I said, foreskin, shouldn't you use 4 firecrackers? Because you got foreskin. Just put it on his foreskin. So enough of my dick.
Oh, Jesus.
And the sad thing is, I think he had an orgasm.
This is the part of the episode where we call it's Chris's Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. I think he had an orgasm.
gosh.
I think he had an orgasm.
How are you gonna? Okay, so wait, who's your ideal sponsor for the show? At this point, it's like Johnson and Johnson and tequila
Oh no, I don't fuck with Johnson and Johnson.
or tequila.
I don't want them giving me any talcum powder that's gonna give me cancer. And
yeah.
I don't understand why we even let Johnson and Johnson like even do business anymore. You know?
Well,
what I
it
mean?
used to be Johnson and Johnson and Johnson. They had to get rid of a Johnson.
They did. Didn't the heir die? Wasn't one of like Paris Hilton's friends one of the Johnson and Johnson heirs?
Yeah, I think
And
so.
she died and stuff. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. It's great. You know, it's great that everything.
So yes, there is an abortion pill, and it's 87% reliable up to 84 days or something like that.
Hell yeah, I knew that because I was listening to Britney Spears' book. It's a sad book, you know.
And then the one, yes, you can get them for dogs too.
Can you get them for dogs?
And they're called Terminator Max.
They're called No More Bow Wow for you.
No more,
No more Bow Wow. I don't know. That's wrong. I mean, giving an abortion pill to a dog, that's just wrong. At this point, your dog gets pregnant, you gotta let the dog have a baby, have puppies. I mean, you're giving abortion pills to dogs. That's where I like draw the line. You know.
I forget what the other question you asked me was, but it was something.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Britney Spears' book was hella sad. You know.
and so you listened to that on audiobook?
I listened to it on audio,
Did
but
you get through the whole thing?
yeah, it wasn't that long. Maybe 5 hours.
Yeah.
It was 5 hours and stuff.
What did you what fact surprised you the most about Britney Spears? Other than she took an abortion pill in her own home.
I didn't realize how fast her family went after her, you know. like how controlled she really was.
What, as soon as she got a #1 hit, or when did they go after her? As soon as she got a contract, or
Well, I think when she got married the first time in Vegas to a
that was Federline or Federline or
no, it
whatever.
wasn't Federline. There was another guy she married.
So she got married before Kevin, and
She got
Kevin's the one. Didn't she have a kid?
yeah. She had two. She has two sons with Kevin. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing I found weird about Britney, she doesn't like weed. I'm like, you're not. How you not like weed and stuff? You know. I guess Kevin Federline wanted her to be a rapper. I'm like, dude, there's only one white rapper out. You know. There's actually two now. But Machine Gun Kelly's not really a rapper though, you know. But yeah, like I was surprised how they really like went after her and they put her like in some rehab and stuff. And it was crazy, like, you know, to have like in fact the crazy thing is that they put her in a conservatorship.
Right.
That's one thing I don't like about Gavin Newsom. He just had a law passed in California that if you're homeless and on drugs, the state of California is going to be able to put you in a conservatorship. Like, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with any government agency putting people in conservatorships. Like, what is going on here, you know? And why not help these people? There's nothing about helping any of them, you know? There's homeless people everywhere. There's no housing for them. They talk about how there's not enough housing. But you know, every time I fly to Vegas or LA and I'm on the plane, I'm looking outside. There's empty land everywhere, you know? There's millions and millions of acres of empty land in California. We can build housing for people. We can build housing for people and stuff, you know?
Um, I am so confused. Is this a? I want to read something, but go ahead, keep going. I literally just got thrown for a loop. So I was reading, in the I'll cite the source. It was SF Gate. So SF Gate was talking about how skateboarders took over this hill by Dolores Park on Saturday,
Oh, yeah.
and so they were talking about how literally it's kind of like a, what are those things called when the people go around in circles in their cars? Sideshows.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like a sideshow, but they took over a hill with skateboards. But then I was reading something else and it popped up, and I think it was one of those clickbait things, because I'm gonna go back to it. Oh, it did. Oh, what a pain in the butt. So the ad had a picture of Barron Trump, which was Donald Trump's son, right?
Oh, yeah, Baron.
They said Barron Trump is now 18 years old and living in San Francisco with his partner. And must have been clickbait, and it was somewhere on the confines of SF Gate, because I was literally reading that story and I was going from one page to another, and I literally, anyway, so that's funky when they do that.
Well, Trump has a building in them, like on.
Yeah, he has the
Yes.
building that they actually filmed the Towering Inferno in,
Oh, yeah.
which is like 333 California Street.
So he probably lives down there.
But he's not, he hasn't reported or come out as being gay.
Well, he's 18.
Right.
Why you
And
say-
he just graduated. But what I'm saying is, it was literally a story I just saw, and then I clicked on it and it disappeared. So it was like they made a headline and put a picture to it, but there's no story.
I don't know what Barron Trump looks like.
He looks like a young kid still. But-
You know, people complain that Kamala, when she was attorney general, she put people in jail in record numbers. But you know who she didn't put away in jail? Name one person.
She didn't put away.
Yeah. She didn't put me away in jail.
Jeez.
She didn't put me away in jail. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe you were just a criminal, you know? Maybe you were just a criminal and you deserve to be in jail. And the thing is, things are turning around. Back when the Black Lives Matter movement started, people felt bad about having like 20 million jails in California. And then, but now they realize, let's figure out how to we get these people to want more people in jail. And there's like, well, let's see if we can get everybody to committing crimes, and that's what they did. They decided they weren't going to put anybody in jail for crimes under $1,000. And now there's people every day on the news talking about we need to put people in jail. We need to put people in jail. And they did that. They bamboozled us, They bamboozled us by doing that. They're like, yeah, you don't want people in jail? Okay. Now they're just going to rob you like crazy until you beg us to put people in jail again. And that's what they're doing. Now they're demanding, especially in San Francisco. We had that one guy. We had the DA whose parents were in the Weather Underground, and he decided not to put anybody in jail. Well, guess what? Now we want people in jail. Now we're demanding more people in jail. And they basically bamboozled us, They're like, why can't we have it in the middle? Why has it always got to be one or the other, we got too many people in jail, and now all these people are committing crimes. Now they're like, let's put more people in jail. Let's put more people in jail. Like, I don't like that, Why couldn't they have just kept it the way it was? Even LA, like, and I mean, I gotta say, these criminals are finally getting smart, They're getting smart. Why are you gonna rob Oakland when you can go rob some jewelry store in Walnut Creek, Why are you robbing Oakland? There's nothing in Oakland to rob, You go to Walnut Creek, there's a Tiffany's in Walnut Creek. I'm sure they won't let you rob the Tiffany's. They'll probably shoot you before you can get in the door, There's no business with better security than a jewelry store. We gotta learn from the jewelry store. They just don't let anybody walk in there. I want to buy an engagement ring. I'm like, you better show a gold card to get in this place. They just won't let anybody in there. But like I said, I mean, Kamala didn't put me away, so I'm down for a Kamala president. But it's like now everybody wants more people in jail. People are complaining about the crime. There was a Union 76 on Hedgenberger that was looted in the middle of the night. They went in and stole all this shit. And it broke my heart because I used to work out of Union 76, And I didn't realize Union 76 had like full on, like back when I worked at the Union 76, there wasn't like a whole stuff. There wasn't like a candy machine. You couldn't buy drinks or beers.
There wasn't a little mini market. Did they have a place where you could go to the bathroom with a vending machine or what?
No, not even that.
Did you work? What did you do at the gas station? Did you pump gas, or were you sit in a little booth and?
I sat in a little booth. It was old school.
Yeah.
There was no credit. There was no like plastic things. I would have to do the credit cards like shh.
Oh yeah, you had to manually slide the credit card in a machine. One.
And once in a while, I accidentally added a one to their which was crazy back then because you could fill up your car for $5. So then you get a bill saying it's
maybe not that much, but yeah, not nearly as what it is today.
You get a bill saying it's like $15. You easily know something happened here. But yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But that was the thing. Back in those days, there were benefits to having jobs, like that. You would get free gas. You just wouldn't tell anybody.
Right.
But I learned I'm not good with money. I'm just not good counting money, I'm dyslexic, I used to work at Great America too, and I was in the food department. They would put me in a cash register, and I was always like $1 off or whatever. I'm dyslexic. I'm not good with counting money, I don't like that shit. I don't like any of that shit.
Okay, so I just took a screenshot of that if you guys just heard me. So it literally says Barron Trump 18 now lives in San Francisco with his partner. And you can read that.
Where partner doesn't mean a
Yeah, it could be, and it's actually under business lead. So his
See,
partner could be his business partner.
the reality is, well, I don't think Barron Trump can live alone, can he? I mean,
Well, and then you click on the story and it goes to something different.
do they got Secret Service for the kids still? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Hunter Biden was able to smoke crack around the Secret Service. So, I mean, the Secret Service isn't gonna stop you from smoking crack. Like they should.
No, they would stop you from going to a drug dealer, but I mean, yeah, I don't know if they would stop you from doing something like that. I
Well,
think they would constantly be watching you.
That's why I don't think Hunter Biden had Secret Service around them. I think they just gave up on him. But he was vice president. I don't think vice president when he was doing all those drugs. I don't think his dad was vice president. So I don't think the vice president's kids have protection. I'm not even sure.
Really?
They might.
I think it goes so far down.
Maybe they send another
It's
like
not like the grandchildren, but
the Secret Service are like, this guy smokes crack too. We'll just have him hang out with Hunter Biden. We'll send the crackhead Secret Service
well,
to kick it with
apparently
Hunter.
Hunter was able to do certain things because he got in trouble.
He was banging his sister-in-law after his brother died of cancer. I'm like, oh, that is way out.
Well, yeah, that's why last week they had a field day because they said something about Hunter Biden had actually sat in on certain meetings at the White House. And so they were like, okay, not only were they citing nepotism, in other words, the president hiring his own family like Trump did, right? But also here this guy was apparently under the influence because he was an ex-addict and
He still is. He
right.
still sits in meetings of the White House.
Right. Well, no, now he can because he's a convicted felon.
He's not.
Isn't he convicted? Isn't he getting some time for
The,
he lied on the gun request,
but
the
that's
application for a gun. They
being,
still have to sentence him to that, but
being a felon doesn't mean you can't work at the White House. So.
yeah, that's true.
But I think
Because if that was true, we wouldn't even be talking about Trump half the time, right?
I think he lives in the White House. Hunter Biden. No, he lives in L.A. But actually, I think he has another trial coming up for taxes in L.A. and stuff. But yeah, it was weird. There were like 51 CIA agents who said that laptop wasn't real. Hunter Biden's laptop wasn't real. Turns out it was real. And I think the reason Hunter Biden left it in the first place because rich people they don't like. Why would you even have a laptop get fixed? If you're rich, why not just buy another one and put the other one away somewhere?
Well, because if you have a whole bunch of stuff on it that you need, but yeah.
Well, I think he wanted. I don't think he wanted his father to become president because he knew what kind of mental state his father was in.
Oh, geez.
So I think
I think what's happened to Biden has happened just recently. Yeah, he's been getting older and older, but I don't think he was really bad until. Well, they've also limited how much he's in front of the camera and how long he's in front of the camera, and so
that's what I'm saying.
who knows how long he's really been slipping.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know. I mean, we don't know. Remember Reagan? Remember Reagan was like that? He was that way during the election.
Right.
But we really don't know because they've been able to hide it for a while. But I'm surprised people were surprised. I wasn't.
So
really
they've been
that
able to
surprised.
hide how he's been losing his faculties, but there's one thing they can't hide is how much Trump's been lying.
Well, the thing about Biden is he's always said crazy stuff. So
Right.
So the fact that he talked about how like he fought in the Civil War, like I mean, he said shit like that 20 years ago. Actually, he got busted for plagiarism a couple times too.
Who, Biden?
Yeah, Biden got busted for plagiarism a couple times.
What, in his speeches or what?
Yeah, he stole a speech from from a British like politician in the 80s. He copied the speech. He copied the speech and he did it. He did it exactly. It's like the same speech. So, and I mean, but I think the thing people don't realize why Biden is this important. I don't think people know what Delaware is to the business world, you know. Every major company in America is headquartered in Delaware. Anytime there's lawsuits between companies, they always take place in Delaware. When Tesla had to go to court, it was in Delaware. That's why that's why what gave Biden his power, because Biden was from Delaware,
Right.
but he stayed in Delaware. But that's why Delaware is so important at this point. And that's the other weird thing. It was Delaware that convicted Hunter Biden, you know? It was Delaware, the state that his father was a senator for over 40 years, is going to put you on trial. But really, it was all Hunter Biden's fault. He wrote that book, and he talked about how he bought a gun while he was on drugs. I mean, how stupid can you be? Like, don't write the damn book. Do you need that kind of money? But it's exciting. It's an exciting time. It's exciting. I don't know what my guest is. I guess he's. I don't know what happened to it. I booked somebody, and then they told me early in the morning they had COVID, but they're sending their friend over here. But I mean, I think the street got closed off because there was a fire. There
But
was.
they're letting people walk down the street.
Oh yeah, I walked over here. But you never know. You never know what happens out here. It's crazy out here. But like I said, yeah, I ended up in Fort Mason, and I was like, "Am I in a military base? Am I like smoking weed in a mill?" Because somebody told me that's the last place you want to smoke weed at is in the military base, because federally marijuana is still illegal and stuff, and they will ticket you for that shit, you know?
Right.
But I was like, is Fort Mason even military at this point, or is it part of the city, you know? It's not even a fort. It's like, it's a bunch of buildings out there. I used to take an improv class at Fort Mason, so I used to go there a lot, but I don't think I was ever smoking weed out there. But I'm quite sure I'm not the first person to smoke weed at
What
Fort
was the
Mason.
name of the improv?
I don't know.
Was it BAPS?
No, it wasn't bats, but yeah, they were in there. It was like a weekly drop in on Saturday. Is bats even around anymore?
I don't know. It's been a while since I've heard about them.
Yeah. So I heard that Stroy Moyd opened up his new club. It's actually like a couple blocks down from here.
Yeah, the function.
The Function. And I think he has Live Nation behind it and stuff.
That's cool. If he's got Live Nation behind it, that's pretty awesome.
Which is
As long as they don't make him pull an exclusive, but I don't think they're going to.
well, that's what Live Nation does, you know?
Yeah, so then how would he be able to bring his whole crew in? Because they're not just going to fold. I don't know how many members it's Hella Funny, right? Yeah, Hella Funny.
There's
I
a
don't know
lot
how
of
many members are in Hella Funny, but I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 and
There's a,
probably more.
there's at least a couple hundred people in Hella Funny.
Okay, so there you go. So if it's a couple hundred, that would be crazy if he could get a couple hundred comedians that didn't have a contract with Live Nation before, a contract with Live Nation because they're gonna want to be in his club.
Well, I don't know who's. I think
I don't think that's happening. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I don't know who's at the club, but It's not the regular comedians. They're bringing out of towners, so they might be Live Nation. You know.
Right, but I think okay, so I think so you can run your business however you want, right? And so
Well, you need
so like
you
okay,
leave not you need Live Nation if you're gonna have a comedy club in San Francisco
no, you don't.
because they're gonna shut you down.
Well, okay, so that's the thought. The thought is how can a small club survive a metropolis such as San Francisco, LA, Chicago, or New York? I don't know. But one thing that Hella Funny and Stroy bring to their brand is so like they take pride in that they're the first and only black owned comedy club in San Francisco. So that alone carries something, okay, that has some sort of weight. And as soon as you add the corporate element, i.e., Live Nation or something like that, or, you know, in the radio business is Clear Channel, as soon as you add Big Brother corporate in there, the small brand kind of gets absolved, or the flavor of the small brand gets absolved by the big corporate entity. I think Stroy's in a great place. I don't know his business model, but I'm pretty sure it's not to do what the Punch is doing or what other Live Nation clubs are. But you're right. You have to bring in headliners, and they can't be just local people.
The problem is, I remember reading Red Fox's book
Right.
when he had a club in LA,
Right.
and he said the biggest problem with having a comedy club is that your friends are going to basically rip you off. You know, they're going to steal money from you. They're going to steal shit from you because they think, like, who are you, you know?
As in, well, so it depends on what he means, like in dealings with them, or like they're always going to get a better deal no matter what.
No, I'm talking about stealing money out of the cash register.
Actually stealing money from the register.
Stealing money.
Then you shouldn't hire your friends.
Yeah, I mean.
Or you have the wrong friends, or.
But when Tommy T's opened up in San Francisco, somebody showed me a text from the Punchline telling them not to perform there. Like,
sure,
they send out texts to blackballing people and stuff.
Sure.
So that's
it can become mafia-esque, if you will. Sure.
Live Nation's in a lawsuit right now, but I mean they are a monopoly. There's no way of denying that they are a monopoly and stuff.
No, they are. But what I'm saying is independent club owners, especially people that are just starting in this economy right now, don't have to buy into it. Do not have to drink the Kool-Aid of people like Live Nation. They just have to bring something unique to the table. Stroy is bringing something unique to the table. And I'm just using one of many points, which it's the first black-owned comedy club in San Francisco. And so that's just one of many. He also pulls from a large pool of comedians that not only are funny but resourceful. So he's not just so like here I am. I'm running a radio station in San Francisco. I have a handful at least of shows that are creating actively weekly. But here's the thing is I'm a one-man band. Not all you guys work here. Like when you get off the air, you don't start pulling wire or doing programming for me. You go home and you do your thing. Stroy actually has an army behind him. He has people that not only want to use his facility, but want to participate. They're willing to work hard. It's a different entity than something like, let's say, a radio station in San Francisco. There's a lot more camaraderie, and a lot of people want to chip in just for the chance of being around and possibly being able to use the space or perform in the space, or say I work with so-and-so. So anyway, I'm sorry.
I mean, it isn't a bad area, so.
It's San Francisco.
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean.
Because San Francisco's tough right now.
It's near a civic center. There's no parking. But I don't know what kind of lineups they're gonna get. I think basically he's gonna end up disappointing most of his friends eventually because he won't be able to put them all on there.
Right.
And the thing is, like, he's not gonna pay them what they want. Like he can't. I don't think he can afford to pay like good money and stuff. And a lot
No,
of
he's not going to pay, like, let's say somebody he's already paying at a showcase at, let's say, in North Beach at some bar. He's not going to be able to pay, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars to open up on a Friday. Maybe he has the budget. Maybe he has the budget.
Hella Funny runs a lot of bringer shows too. I mean, that's basically their business is the bringer show.
Well, then he should really succeed in this environment. If his hosts and his people are used to bringing people, now they only have to bring them to one location.
Yeah.
I think they were at one point they were doing like 25 shows live a week.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. That's 25 different hosts or 12 of them working 2 times a week or whatever. That's a lot of people working under you. And if you have those kind of numbers, those kind of people could be bringing them to your venue versus some other little bar somewhere else. And so,
and I think less people are in Hella Funny that they think they are. As far as I know, a lot of people think they're in Hella Funny.
oh, like you said, you just said 200. What did I say?
You said
40 or 25 or
40.
something?
It might not even be 40. I mean,
Right.
I'm not even
I
sure.
mean, he might consider Hella Funny to be a collective of a handful of comedians.
Yeah.
It might be his top 5 or his top 10, but a lot of people like, oh, I do Hella Funny shows. I'm in Hella Funny.
Yeah. But every time I see the Hella Funnies at Cobb's or Punchline, those are all bringer shows. I'm not saying anything wrong with bringer shows because you gotta have an audience, but I've known people who did Hella Funny shows that they couldn't bring anybody and they didn't get paid at all. So
They didn't get paid at all, or they didn't get rebooked, probably.
both.
So
They didn't get
but
paid.
but that gets said no matter who you are. If you're an individual or you're part of a group of comedians, if someone books you for a show and you don't draw an audience because people don't come out and see you, or the audience that is put in front of you, you don't entertain so much that they go, who was that guy? He was really funny. So you either have to have a draw or you have to make people laugh beyond just an allegiance to you. I've seen people, like even at contests, I've seen people stock the pond. In other words, bring a lot of people into the audience because they're going to get more votes.
Yeah.
That's not fair. And so just because you bring a lot of people, all that does, it does help. It helps money. It helps revenue. So it helps the venue and it helps the producer. But it doesn't help the show necessarily. It helps them fund the other comedians. But if you suck and you bring a lot of people, it doesn't matter.
Nah. But you
better do at least okay.
You will get
and bring a lot of
rebooked,
people. If you do okay and you bring a lot of people, you'll get booked. But if you do shitty and bring a lot of people, you shouldn't get booked.
Well, they get rebooked. I mean,
They do. People do. People get booked just for putting butts in seats.
that's the way Tommy T's used to. They give you like 300 tickets every
I
time.
remember we used to actually print our own tickets
Oh yeah.
from Tommy T. So, yeah, we would go in and print so many. How many you want to print this week?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they still do that. They give you a handful of tickets, and you're like, and it's like they can't fill out the whole place. I know somebody who was there during the weekend. She was out there watching the show on the weekends and stuff. And they're always handing out free tickets.
Well, that's why even with the shows we were doing, they were expecting you to sell them for, I forget at that time, you would better be at least selling them for $10 and there was a 2-item minimum or something. And so even throughout the week, as it got close to your show, you were either handing out tickets and giving out tickets, or 2 for 1 or whatever. And so, yeah, no, it's about filling that room, because if they get the 2-item minimum from everybody, they're happy. And if the producer gets the money from the tickets, they're happy.
Yeah, she told me that she saw like two shows in one night, and she said the late show isn't even worth it because they're tired. So
They're tired
they're
and they don't
tired.
have enough patrons and they're not making enough money.
Nah,
So if it was full enough and they were making enough tip money, they would be willing to stay.
but she said it was a 2 drink minimum, but they didn't even try and get her to buy 2 drinks. Like they don't like come after you.
Yeah,
And
they're
some,
supposed to. So they should be doing it mandatory to where no matter what, even if you don't buy a second drink, what they do is they ring you up for a second water.
oh
They give
yeah,
you the water. They put the water on your table before you leave.
yeah,
And if you take it, you should be taking it and drinking it anyway. But if you don't and you leave it there, that's a $6 water you just left on the table.
oh yeah. They got good food at Tommy T's. I mean, it's a good restaurant and stuff.
Yeah, they've had a while to curate their menu or whatever.
I always think about they do an open mic, but they only do like 3 minutes, and it's like 3 minutes. I
I've
mean,
gone to what is it, Pleasanton, and done time there on one of their open mic type nights. And it's okay. They have a pretty good audience, but there's a lot of comedians there.
you went to the new club.
Is it Pleasanton?
No, the one in
Oh
Manteca.
yeah, that one's great. That one's 10 minutes away from my house. It's a beautiful club. If I had rented that space, I would have built it out pretty much like that person did.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Chris Teixeira did. He did a really he put some thought into it.
Is there a liquor license?
There is.
That's always
And
good.
they have economical drinks. They're not cheap because they're good quality and at a good price. So like if you go to any club, it's pretty much almost like the same price of a regular bar would be.
Oh yeah.
And usually when you go to a comedy club, they make it premium. Like you can't get a mixed drink for under $10.
Yeah.
And then they make stupid things like the punchline drink or whatever it's called, or the hack or whatever they want to call it. But they end up making some personal drink and it's like $15 because it has a cute name. So that place you can get a frozen margarita for $6.
That's a good deal.
You can get a beer for like $6.
It's like 110 degrees. You need like a frozen margarita.
Yeah, and they've got air conditioning, everything. It's a beautiful little spot. And so yeah, the way the club is laid out is awesome. What they've done is awesome. And they run a quality room, and they've been doing comedy. The Deaf Puppies have been doing comedy for a while, so people like Chris have actually. It's kind of like they've been auditioning for this for a long time,
Yeah.
having their own comedy club. So, no, they did a good job. I've seen people build out comedy rooms, and it's a real simple thing to do in a way, but in a way it's not. A lot of people blow it, and he didn't blow it. He actually laid out the room properly. Um, there's a couple finishing things he still needs to do. He needs to hang some monitors and stuff like that, but literally the groundwork, the foundation has been laid. Looks great. So you should come out, do the open mic there. You sign up at 6:15. List goes back out, rewritten at 6:45. Show starts at 7. If you've never gone there before, if you bring people out there, they'll get you up.
I'm not going out there. I don't even drive.
Well, you can just take the Ace Transit bus.
Where do I get that from? Is that from Livermore?
You can get that from like multiple places in the Bay, and it will take you out to like Lathrop or Manteca.
Maybe during the winter.
And
It's too hot.
then I'll come pick you up. Yeah, it's hotter than hell.
It's too hot
It
out
was
there.
112 the other day, no problem.
I have a friend that works out there. She lives in Oakland. She like drives there every day because her granddaughter's in high school.
Right?
But yeah, she comes back. It's like she's just hating it out there. Right? She's hating it. I'm like,
It's hot. It's no lie. I do not like hot weather. I do not
You
like
might-
super cold weather, but
you might as well move to Vegas. At least Vegas is fun, you know. Why put up with that heat and you're in a boring area with all that heat?
Yeah, you know, some things are, I guess you can categorize them as boring. I don't mind certain things being uneventful. Like, I don't need freeways to be packed.
Uh,
You can get to the mountains or you can go to the water in a short amount of time, but weather out there is extreme. I'm
yeah,
from a city that's one thing they taunt in Redwood City. Redwood City's motto is climate's best by government test. And so it means we have the best government, like as per government. And so I came from somewhere where it never gets too hot, never gets too cold, to going to somewhere that it gets very hot and very cold.
yeah. The whole Joaquin Valley's like that.
Yeah, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, all that stuff in there,
Yeah,
hot. You have to like I was in the AC most of the weekend because I didn't want to go outside. I was going
yeah.
outside and I saw my neighbor working on his car at one point. I saw my neighbor digging a hole on the side of his yard at one point. I'm like, damn, dude.
But he's probably used to that
He's
weather.
used to it.
He's used to that weather and stuff. Yeah. It's like,
I melt like an ice cream cone.
I mean, it was hitting like 105 where I live, but it was like I would go to San Francisco. That's one thing conveniently where I live, but I remember we used to live in Hayward. My mom didn't like Hayward because she didn't like the minorities in Hayward.
Like
But
minorities.
yeah, but I like the Hayward weather. I mean, it wouldn't get too hot. I mean, it was okay, but even where I live now, I mean, it gets hot. But yeah, I'm close enough to San Francisco that I just come out here every time. But it's hard and sleeping in the hot weather. I mean, do you have the AC running 24 hours a day?
Almost until it gets a certain time, depending on what the night is like. I'll watch the weather, and when it drops, that window goes open and the AC goes off. But lately, I've been literally marinating in my own juices and literally like sweating in bed,
Yeah.
even if you're not have a blanket on.
That's one thing about Vegas. Vegas was hot, but I would ride the bus, the Deuce, and it was freezing cold. And that's even worse when you go.
Oh, from something ice cold into the heat, you like get knocked out.
Yeah, you're like you go from one extreme
It
to the
takes your breath
other,
away.
and I'm like, why is it got to be this cold? I mean, it was like freezing cold, and I'm like, I understand it's like 110, but I think
You
it,
shouldn't go down to 23
yeah.
degrees or something.
And even in my hotel, like I would have the AC running all day, but I didn't have it running at night.
Right.
And I've never been able to sleep with a fan on my face. Like,
Mhm.
you know, the only fans that I like are the comedy fans.
Right.
I don't like the real fans. The real fans, and just I wake up with a headache when I get a fan near me and shit.
Yeah. No, you don't like the real fans. You like the only fans.
I like the only fans. I like the OnlyFans. That's the way. I've been paid for an OnlyFans in over a year. I'm pretty good.
You're feeling better about yourself.
Yeah, I haven't paid for an OnlyFans in over a year because I realized
I'm so glad that I'm too old for that shit.
it was just junk.
You think?
I
Even
haven't.
like free porn. Thank God I had just made it past a lot of that stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now because it was good to have to work for certain things when you were younger. It like makes you appreciate it more. So
And
even
then they
okay,
hate
so
on
like
you.
porn. I think if I had watched too much porn, like if I had actually was actively watching porn when it's free now, I would be so desensitized to whatever. I wouldn't. Yeah, people. Yeah, I'm surprised people need to be in relationships.
I got a whole Twitter just for porn. I have one Twitter that I just follow porn. That way I can just scroll down and stuff.
I noticed that a lot of the stuff on my Instagram and a lot of the stuff on now X is pornish. And I
Yeah.
know that they just said that you can actually have porn now on Twitter, but there's always been
porn.
There's
on
always
Twitter.
been people promoting whatever, and that's actually where some of the first times where I saw in a public space little thumbnails of,
Yeah.
genitalia going by, and you're like, what? Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, come click on this so you can go to my real page. This is just my redirect. That's how they
Yeah.
used Facebook or Twitter. as a redirect to their porn page.
Yeah, like the OnlyFans. I got an OnlyFans, but I don't have it registered. So meaning
I wanted to do something with an OnlyFans page to be able to monetize some of the stuff we do, but it would have to be so good of content and you would have to do it on such a regular basis. I don't know what really quantifies as premium content in what we do. Maybe as if, so you were just talking, here's a great idea. I'm pitching this to people like Stroy, not people like Live Nation. Come somewhere like this. Whoever your headliner is for the week. If it's someone like a Bert Kreischer, but you have someone like a Mark Neuer opening up for him or hosting for him.
yeah.
Have them come to my studio, record a bit like they used to do in the good old days, Live 105 and Alex Bennett show. Whoever was going to be at the Punchline or whatever, or at the Improv in San Jose, they would do the morning show, like the morning zoo show. You do that in a video format right here, down the street from your new club,
Yeah.
at another independently grown station.
Mm-hmm.
And you promote the hell out of it, and you take that segment and you plaster it all over your social media pages. You take a segment like we're doing here with your headliner and whoever's hosting or whoever's middling or whatever. You promote it for a few days because they're only here for a couple days. And boom. Or even if you get them before they come in town, have them messenger you in and we record it and then you promote it like that. But that's what you do is you have a segment with whoever's going live in a couple days on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Same thing we were just talking about the club in Manteca.
Yeah.
Chris Teixeira, this kind of goes out to you too. I mentioned this to you. If you had a companion podcast and you were doing it with a professional studio that's also independent, that's near you, because you don't want to have to run a comedy club and a podcasting studio, but it would be nice to have a partnership with somebody who does. That's what they need to do. Even the Punchline, even a big corporate, it would behoove them not to come in somewhere local. Whoever's appearing at the Punchline this weekend should be in an independent radio station such as this, doing a video podcast and promoting the show that's coming up. That would be stupid not to do it. And it's so convenient.
Well, all the radio stations aren't they all in the same building anyway? Like,
No, so there's like, what is it? 55 Hawthorne. It's got the Bone. It's got KNBR. It's got a couple things. So 55 Hawthorne's got a couple entities in it, but no, they're not all like that.
well, the other sports station is in the same building too. Aren't
Well,
they?
even if you go to a TV studio here in San Francisco, if you go to ABC, CBS, or NBC, those are all on the same block. They're over by Battery by the Punchline.
Yeah.
And so they're up in North Beach. And so there are things that you can hit 1, 2, 3, and that's how they were made. Like that was so that people could come into town, go and hit 3 studios all within 20 minutes and be on all 3 major networks. What were the 3 major networks at that point?
I remember when WrestleMania was in Santa Clara, like, I think Hulk Hogan had an interview with, I think it was KBR, or it was the other one, but he went into the wrong sports station and they interviewed him anyway.
Right.
But I think it was in the
Same building.
It's in
Yeah.
the
So like
same-
KNBR, KCBS, a lot of those were done at 55 Hawthorne, which is
Yeah.
also where the Bone is.
the game.
But so there,
95
most of
something
those
AM.
stations we were just talking about monopolies. All or most of those stations are owned by Clear Channel,
Yeah.
and so Clear Channel they'd go, oh, come to our building, and even if you were being interviewed on, let's say, KNBR, there might be 3 mics in front of you, going to 3 different feeds simultaneously, or they're at least recording it for playback later on another station. Hey, this is our sister station, KNBR, kind of thing. And so that kind of stuff happens all the time. But it's happening less and less now that there's these big monopolies. There's nothing really in between. There's either big monopolies or independent little guys like us. And the little guys like me and Stroy and Chris and all those independent people were really having to fight for every dollar, fight for every fan, fight for our customer base.
Well, Clear Channel's part of Live Nation, aren't they?
No, so yeah, I think they do have some sort of either sponsorship or alignment or
No,
something.
I think it's the same company.
They're owned by the same entity.
I think they're all this. That's why they got Ticketmaster. They got all.
Right. Even Ticketmaster used to be it used to be Bass Tickets,
Yeah.
which was an entity of Bill Graham Presents.
You can't even go on. If you're a band, you can't even tour without Live Nation.
Right.
Comedy.
Not if you want to go into any Live Nation venue. And all the big places, like here in the Bay Area, it's all the sports arenas. Like if you want to go to Pac Bell, or it's not even Pac Bell anymore. If you want to go where the Giants play, or where the A's play currently, or where the Sharks are, those are all entities that are run by Live Nation.
Yeah. Live Nation doesn't even, like, the best comedians don't even go to the Punchline. They got separate venues for them. Like,
Because they're live. That's the problem, and that's so. If you're an artist, it's great to be an artist that's underneath the Live Nation umbrella because you get access to some very large venues. If you can pack those stadiums out, that's where you're going to get. If you're a Chris Rock or a who else? I don't know who's big on the comedy scene. So if you're any big artist, you're going to get those venues.
Kevin Hart.
Right. So you're going to get Staples, or not Staples, but you'll get what is it?
I think they put him in the Paramount in Oakland and stuff.
Right. So some of those people would get Paramount. Some people might get like I'm trying to think of what the where the Sharks play.
Oh yeah, the SAP Center.
SAP. Thank you.
The
SAP Center,
yeah.
or maybe. So I think even Shoreline and stuff. So a lot of these places, Oco, all those places are all accessible to artists from Live Nation.
Yeah. I mean, it's comedy. You can tour comedy without being in Live Nation, but I don't think it's that easy. Like,
You don't get that. You don't get access to the big venues, to all the promotions, to all the big money.
nah.
But then the other thing is if you're a smaller artist than the ones we've mentioned, then you might get lost a little bit. I don't know. I mean,
I don't like sporting events. I don't like how they search you. Everything, you can't get anything cheap anymore. Like, everything, you can't bring a bag. You can't bring shit in. It's like, it's crazy and stuff.
yeah, I don't like how you can't bring in food. I mean, I
Yeah.
get the security issue, but
I think the A's let you bring in food, but not the Giants. The Giants, but it's like everything is expensive. You can't move anywhere. You can't go anywhere.
right.
I'm glad the A's are moving to Sacramento. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of people hating on them. But I'm an Angels fan. But my thing is, like, I mean, I wish the Angels would move to Vegas, actually. I want them to get out of Disneyland.
Anaheim.
I don't like Disneyland. I mean, even though the Angels won a World Series when their owner was Disneyland. So, but
Why was the owner on? Was it really Disneyland?
yeah, the only time the Angels ever won the World Series in 2002.
This is when they were owned by Disney.
And Disney like sold them right afterwards too. Like they waited no, but now they got a rich owner, and the
You
owner.
wouldn't think they would have wrote out the rest of that year as we're the champs, but yeah.
Nah, they sold them right afterwards and stuff.
Damn.
It was Michael Eisner was head of Disney back then.
Yeah, I
and
remember
stuff.
Eisner. Yeah.
Yeah, some people are fanatical about Disney. I went to Disneyland like a couple of years ago, and I was like, it's okay, but I'm not trying to go there that often. But some people, they like to go there all the time. It's like, don't you get bored of that place? Like, damn.
Well, so you have to really love Disneyland to want to be there more than even a day. And like I find myself with my family going on certain rides multiple times in a day. Like I can almost tell you we're gonna go more than once to Pirates of the Caribbean and oh my gosh, what's the roller coaster one?
Oh, Space
Yeah,
Mountain.
Space Mountain. So Space Mountain and Pirates of the Caribbean, I can almost guarantee we're gonna go on more than once.
I like the Indiana Jones ride too.
I like Indiana Jones. I like them all. I like a lot of the rides, but the thing is that you definitely are gonna go multiple times. That's why if we get one of those park hoppers, I definitely like California Adventure because there's some good stuff there.
And the other thing I don't like is you got people with fast tickets at Disneyland.
Oh, the Fast Pass or whatever.
Yeah, you're waiting in line and you got these people who paid more money. I'm
Well, no, now so they're doing it a little bit different. When was the last time you were there?
like 2 years ago.
So they were doing it then. So now you don't pay more, but you can go. Let's say if you're running up to a ride, and let's say you're going up to Space Mountain, it goes waiting time is going to be 40 minutes. You can opt out and look at when they're giving away fast pass tickets, and it might be 3 in the afternoon right now, but at 7 o'clock at night, you won't have to wait as long, and you just go almost right up. And so you could either opt, I'm going to wait 40 minutes in this line and go right now at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and wait until 3 o'clock to get on or 3:40 to get on, or I can just get this fast pass ticket and come back at 7 o'clock tonight and go pretty much right on. That's the way to do it. I've done that with them with a few of them, but you can only get so many fast pass passes in like an hour. So you can't go to every ride you want to go to and get them all scheduled at once and then just spend the rest of your time kicking back or going to a restaurant or
There's no alcohol at Disneyland.
no, you can't smoke, you can't
You
drink.
can't do anything. I was on the rowing ride and they actually expected me to row. I was like, oh, I'm
What is that? The one at like the one you're like at over by Huck Finn Island or whatever?
yeah, they
You're
got
on one of those canoes.
I was on one of the canoes and they expected me to row. I'm like, I ain't rowing shit. What do you
What
think
do you
I
think?
am?
Did you think it was really automated or something?
I don't know. I'm like, why they got a rowing ride at Disneyland? I'm not rowing shit.
So should we promote your guest that was going to be on that never showed up? And I've been watching the front just to see if he's gonna walk
I
up.
don't know. I don't know. No, I mean, I booked somebody else and he said his friend was coming. So, I mean, I can't blame him if he didn't show up.
Right. No, can't blame him, but didn't know if we needed to give him a shout out at all.
I don't know. It's okay.
Maybe if he makes it, we'll give him a shout out.
I don't know. Maybe he didn't even plan on it. Maybe my friend lied to me. I don't even know.
That's nice of him.
I don't even know. I mean,
So what do you got going? You just came from a sesh. You did a sesh this weekend, or was that this weekend?
yeah, I was at a sesh Thursday. I went Thursday and Saturday. Friday, I was at Cal's. I did my joke about somebody blowing their dick off at a 4th of July party. I did okay.
Yeah.
I did okay. The crowd
About
wasn't
that about the person blowing their dick off.
the crowd wasn't that enthusiastic. I think the way I set it up, I think the crowd really thought that somebody did blow their dick off.
So-
I don't know if I'm supposed to tell people that it never happened. Like, I know because of the whole thing about what's his name who said that he took stories, but he made some of them up. So I'm not sure.
Are you asking how do you impress upon people that you're telling a story versus are you trying to do it in a way that they believe you?
Well, I mean, if they believe me, they're idiots. So I mean,
Right. So in other words, you're actually telling something that's absurd. You expect the audience to go, "Oh, he's full of shit."
well, yeah, because I'm talking about like I mean, you gotta
Like, I have a joke about gun control, and I said we should start giving babies at 1 year old automatic weapons.
Yeah.
You know that's stupid. You know
Yeah.
that's wrong,
Yeah.
right? So you're saying, it's even like when you were talking about it earlier, I knew you were kidding, but I was getting grossed out because you're like, oh, and the balls got stuck in my mouth, or the balls.
Yeah.
So it was still gross because you were painting a picture, and even if it was a fictitious picture, I still was following your story.
Yeah, but at first people were groaning because some people really thought it was true in the beginning. I was at a 4th of July party that somebody blew their dick off, like,
Yeah, that's the one where we were just talking about. It's like a gender reveal party.
yeah.
Look, he was a boy.
And then I said, he wanted a sex change. He thought, why not do it this way, like. But then it like
So it went from a 4th of July barbecue to a gender reveal party.
yeah. Oh yeah, but I did talk about how they put the firecracker in their foreskin and
Yeah, and I told him it should have been 4 because it was foreskin. Yeah, I remember the joke.
Then I blamed his parents. I'm like, they didn't circumcise him, they should have circumcised.
So do you think they were really believing you? Like you said, they would have had to have been stupid. Don't you think they were just giving you a little bit of creative license and letting you go?
And the weird thing is, people really didn't talk to me. It's one of those moments where
I mean, one of those things that people didn't want to come up and start reminiscing with you.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother put a firecracker in his ding dong.
But every year somebody blows out their hand, But yeah, I don't know. Actually, I came up with it. I was sitting. It was the beginning of the show where I thought maybe I should talk about that. Like
Right.
sometimes I just come up with stories out of nowhere. Like I sit around just watching the show, seeing how it's going, because I'm always on last. I'm like,
oh, at Kells.
Yeah, I'm always on after the headliner, so I'm like last.
They're like, oh, we got a bonus comedian for you.
Yeah, they don't even call me the bonus comedian anymore. Like,
Oh no, they just go, hold on, we got to extract your tip money, and the quicker you give us your money, the quicker he ends.
Yeah, well, there's no tip jar. I mean,
oh yeah, I think we discussed that before. Vahe, you're watching the show. Get a tip jar, even if you guys charge at the table or charge at the door or get tickets up first. And if you don't even do that, you absolutely should be collecting tip money because. Yeah. Anyway, what am I doing? I'm telling you how to produce a show. Anyway.
Well, he pays the comedian, so he already pays them, and
right. So that budget has to come from somewhere.
So he pays them, but he pays them from the ticket sales.
Right, and so that other money should go to equipment or promotion or to hire bigger headliners or.
And the club, like, he gives out free tickets, but the club doesn't give them free drinks. Like, he gets a discount from the drinks. But at the end, he's also paying.
Oh, so he still has to pay for his drinks.
Yeah.
That happens a lot of time because a lot of comedians will drink their weight in alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
If that's how they're getting paid. I've been at bars where like, oh, I'm only getting paid so much for this, and so I'm gonna drink as much as I can, or you get to know your bartender really well, and hey, like even us, it's like, oh, let me smoke you out, or let me give you a nug, or whatever, or just keep me drunk.
I try to get a Red Bull with a drink ticket, and the bartender's like, "Are you sure you don't want an IPA instead?" I'm like, "No, I want a Red Bull." Like, they don't like giving out Red Bulls with drink tickets.
Oh, because it's actually cost them more money.
I think so, but I drank 5 Red Bulls in one night. I thought
because you could get cheap beer, even if it's a good beer. You can get cheap beer a lot of the time. If you buy a 6-pack of decent IPA, like $8-9 in the store, like $10 in the store, but really retail somewhere around 5, wholesale somewhere around 4. Yeah, you can't get 6 energy drinks for $4 wholesale. There's a premium for those kind of drinks,
especially the Red Bulls. The Red Bulls are never on sale.
Nope.
The Red Bulls are expensive anywhere you go.
Yep, they hold their value.
But I like Red Bull because there was Red Bull in Chile, and there was no Mountain Dew in Chile because uh, 100 countries banned Mountain Dew. They wouldn't let Mountain Dew enter Chile, but they let Red Bull enter. So I'm thinking Red Bull's got to be healthier for you than Mountain Dew. It makes no sense, but there's not out there. There wasn't many energy drinks. I mean, I don't think Monsters out there. There's a couple of them, but it's just mainly Red Bull.
So,
But
what you should do is you should do a pitch right now for Apache Hotel, and this will be your shout out to Apache, and you can tell them,
yeah,
hey guys, I'm the Junkyard Rat, and when I go somewhere and I stay, I only stay at Apache.
do you know why I stay there? See what my T-shirt says.
I stay at because, oh, what does it say? No resort fee ever.
Yeah. No resort fee ever at the Apache.
So they should be giving you a free room. That's right, at the Apache. I stay because there's no resort fee ever. That's right, the Apache.
And
That's what you do, and you send them this. Then you go to your YouTube video and you make that a reel. Then you go tag them.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you've got like brand new free rooms at Apache Hotel.
Hell yeah.
Like stuff coming in your mail.
Have you stayed in the Apache?
No, I've not stayed at the Apache.
Have you stayed in downtown in Vegas at all? Have you been?
Yeah.
Which downtown did you stay at?
I mean, which hotel?
Yeah, what hotel?
I'm trying to remember. So I know the one time that I performed, I stayed with Jack Herrera's wife at whatever hotel it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was like some sort of, I want to say it was like, it wasn't Econo Lodge, but it was something that wasn't, it was okay. I can't remember what it was, but it was a pretty good size hotel, and it was tall. I think we were like on the 8th or 10th floor.
Was it loud? I mean, was it loud all night long?
No. We
Yeah,
had a
this
pretty
one
good
gets
place.
they get loud and stuff. The weird thing, I don't think they don't do the Slotzilla thing anymore.
Slotzilla.
Yeah,
What is Slotzilla?
Slotzilla was like, what is it called when they hook you up in wires and then you go.
Oh no! Really?
They don't do it during the nighttime. They do it during the daytime, but
Oh, so you're talking about a zip line?
yeah, they don't do zip lines.
And where are you doing a zip line to and from?
And downtown.
From one hotel to another?
No, there's a whole street that's closed off, Fremont Street.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, you're right.
And they
Above
got,
Fremont Street, they have a zip line that goes back and
it's like
forth.
the biggest TV in the world.
LED screen is or
well,
something.
Well, you haven't been there in a while, man. Well, why don't you get down
That's
there?
right. No, that's right. I've been there, but I was like going, I forgot. They do have people zipping across.
Yeah,
on
they
there.
got a couple of zip lines in Vegas, I think, but I've never been on a zip line because I don't even know if they have a weight limit. I never really asked.
You never took it that serious that you were going to do it.
I thought about it a couple times, but I saw Joan Rivers doing it on TV.
And you thought, okay, if Joan Rivers can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, but I always get scared because I'm like, they must have a weight limit on there or something. But
Right.
have you ever been on a zip line? No.
No. I'm trying to think. I've gone on something like that before, but no. Not like the ones you see on TV. Not ones where you're going across a ravine or off a bridge or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
She actually did that one on Fremont Street.
Yeah, that would be so. And when you think about how high that is, that's okay high. That's like 50
Yeah,
feet or something straight up.
That's 50.
That's
they-
enough, especially when you're above concrete
Yeah.
flying.
I mean, downtown is fun. I mean, I like downtown Vegas. It's funner, but yeah, it's like Vegas is hella expensive. It's
Right.
it's
No matter
crazy.
what you do, it's not cheap.
Yeah, but no resort fees and shit.
No resort fee.
They actually own two of them. They got the Four Queens also has no resort fees and stuff, but
So no resort fee means you can walk up and just get a room.
you get a room, whatever price. But they do have what is
So when it says get a room for $49.99, you get a room for $49.99.
Well, I don't pay. No, they got discounts, but they do charge you $100 for a deposit. So
Well, yeah, that's just so you don't.
And I didn't realize it. Like I checked in early one time, and they kept my money. So I realized you can't check in early. They're gonna they're gonna keep your deposit. I think I checked in maybe like an hour and a half early, and they kept my deposit. So I was like, fuck these people, man.
Why would they keep your?
Because
They shouldn't just. They shouldn't give you access. I've been on a lot of trips where they just don't let you in. I'm sorry, your check-in time's 3, but we got here and we're tired and
yeah,
we had to get a different flight or a different train or whatever, and we're really tired. Can't we? Nope.
yeah, my,
Here's a free voucher for our little restaurant over there. You can go get yourself a 2-for-1 meal or something.
give me a T-shirt and stuff.
Well, they gave you a shirt, no resort fees, but we'll give you a shirt to shut you up.
They gave me a T-shirt. Yeah, they gave me. It's a little hotel. The best thing about it, and I gotta say, the price is good, but the best thing about this place is there's no fucking line to check in.
There's no line.
You go to the MGM Grand or the Luxor, you're like in line for half an hour to check in. Like, there's never any line. In the bigger hotels, you're in line forever. Everything's a line. The buffet's a line. Everything's got lines and shit. This place has no lines and stuff.
Right.
Except the ones you do in your bedroom by yourself.
Yeah, those lines. Yeah.
Those lines, but there's no lines. They're pretty chill. They got game cards, but I never get any game. I'm not really a gambler and stuff.
I was gonna say now all that. I enjoy Vegas, but a lot of it's lost on me because I'm not a big gambler. I will gamble, but literally, if I go gamble, I usually literally will only take like $20 with me, and once it's out, which means, oh wow, you're in and out of a casino pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
And then, what else? I don't drink like I used to, so that isn't really a thing for me. I would probably go to some of the shows if I was brought. So like if my wife and I went now, I think we would be more apt to go see things like the Blue Man Group or something like that.
Oh
yeah. But even like it's all usually about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and a lot of that isn't in my repertoire anymore.
Yeah, somebody sent me to a sex club last time. They told me to go check out a sex club. I'm like, I don't know about that. Where are the sex clubs anyway?
They're all over the place. Most of them are on the strip. So like, I met a girl when I was in Vegas. Like, well, how old's my son? 24. So about 24 years ago, I met a girl in Vegas and ended up hanging out with her for like 24 hours. And she actually took me to places to go and party and go to casinos and stuff. And I still didn't. She actually took me all the cheap places where to have fun and not spend a ton of money. And so, what was my point? My point was...
Your point is you didn't get married to her.
No, but I guess...
You messed up.
Yeah, that too.
You messed up. You should have got married.
Yeah, and I can't even remember what my damn point was about her, but basically
Did you see her again, or was it a one-time thing?
It was a one-time thing. We literally hung out for like a day and a half, and it was because the person I was with was so boring and it was so hot that he didn't want to be outside of the casino much.
Yeah.
And so we went to an IMAX show. I remember we went and saw like Discovering Everest. It was something about Everest.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I remember seeing that. We went to a killer buffet at Caesar's Palace. We went to another cheap ass casino that I think we were there for like 2.5 hours and only spent like $20 and got drinks the whole time. Oh, that was my point, is that she worked at the Crazy Horse, like the one across the street here in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. There's a Crazy Horse on the strip. And I didn't even know where it was, but I knew that she worked there. And so, yeah, it's a unique town. Even last time I saw my friend's daughter and hung out with her, and she showed me She brought me to food with her friend, and I don't know. Vegas is cool and it's fun. It's great to hang out. I'm just glad that I don't live there. I think it would be like San Francisco, a great place to visit, but then I want to get the fuck out.
Oh yeah, go back to Lathrop.
Exactly.
Yeah, one woman after my comedy show at Cal's asked me what the best strip club in San Francisco was. I said, well, the Gold Club's got a good buffet. But I'm like,
They have a steakhouse.
there's like 10 strip clubs right by, right?
Um,
Like right by Cal's. Like North Beach has got
right. North Beach is got a lot of strip clubs, but where the Gold Club is, which is down,
Yeah, the Gold Club
is on the other side of the city.
it's like
There's
near,
nothing really there.
yeah, it's on, I forgot.
That's right next to all the. You were just talking about all the radio stations.
Yeah.
That's right next to Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Hawthorne and New Montgomery. So
But I was like, why the hell are you trying to get to a strip club? Like, what the hell? That just seemed weird to me. Like, I mean, why not just...
maybe that was her way of trying to pick you up or trying to.
Nah, she started making out with some dude.
Oh.
She was like making out with dude later on. I was like,
And how did you meet this individual?
she was at the show. And after the show, she just...
Hung out with everybody?
No, she came up to me and asked me, hey, so what's the best strip club in San Francisco? I don't know.
So she was a tourist.
Uh,
You don't know?
she was in between, I think, because she knew the Gold Club already. So, but some women like to hang out at strip clubs. I was like, oh,
It's not your thing hanging out with women at strip clubs?
well, no, I don't go to strip clubs at all. Like,
I don't either.
I haven't been to one in years.
And
Not since the Market Street Cinema went down. That was my strip.
yeah, I've gone there before. I wanted to pitch them on a show there, and then it was like literally like 6 months later somebody started doing a show there.
Oh yeah, I remember that place was fun, but it was crazy. They had one woman stripping, and then they had a bunch of women walking around. They would just sit on your lap, and
Tried to bring you in the back.
yeah, you would finger bang them for $5, and then they'd be like, "Hey, there's this place you should go to."
Yeah,
I was
the
like-
time I was there, they were trying to give me something they were passing off as cocaine.
I was like, I'm not. I'm like, fuck that, But you can, and then a friend of mine went there, and it turns out we were finger banging the same broad.
Oh, great.
Some Russian woman. Maybe, I think she had a fake Russian accent. I don't know, but
Whatever it
I
was.
think that place is haunted though. So
A lot of these things right here on Market Street and in San Francisco are pretty.
they're pretty haunted and stuff.
Yeah. Even this building has apparently got a long history. I know we're getting close there. You
Yeah.
actually did it on your own. You didn't need a guest on your show.
I don't know. But do people have guests on the show all the time, or
On their shows?
yeah, like the woman after me and stuff?
The woman after you is going to have 2 people on her show today. Last week she had 1, but for the first couple shows, she was either just talking to me or kind of just telling her audience what she was going to be doing. Like
Yeah.
you. Give yourself some shameless plugs before we get out of here.
I'm gonna be at Cal's this Friday, talking about how somebody's dick got blown off. That might be a one-time joke.
That might be.
Cal's Friday. I might check out some open mics. I don't know.
All right. And then next week, we never know what you're going to do.
I don't know next week.
Don't get ahead of yourself, folks.
No.
All right. So for myself, the rat, look at, he's already starting to pack his
I
bag.
did bring my bong.
Oh, cool. So we can do a session right after this. Oh, it's a rubber bong. Is that is it a phallic device too? Is that like a
No.
fleshlight / bong?
I have like 2 of these. Like, I caught them when they did the
I want to see that before you go too far.
High Times Cup, and
Oh, look at that. It even suction cups to the table.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Those are nice.
You don't got one of these?
No, I don't
Gotta
got
get
one of those. I got to get one of those. All right. So for myself, the rat, we out.
Yeah.
All right. Till next week, guys.
See you next week.